Oh, hello. In this video, I'll describe a little bit the preferences that you can set on the hotspot finder, which is available in both locations, and I will give brief information regarding the differences between the hotspots that you can find directly from the ribbon and the one that you can request in the report section. So let's start first with the hotspot available from the ribbon. So please remember, Hotspot is a tool which allows you to identify the locations of any given contour, whether it is for method stress, whether it is displacement, any value that you would have contoured prior. So first step really is to select the stress. For instance, for Mises Max, apply. And as a second step, I would recommend you to evaluate the distance that you want to set as a separation between two different hotspots. I mean, let me add here one ISO. Okay, let me go to the ISO panel. And let's have a look at maximum value here. Let's imagine that this is a hotspot and this second one has also a high value. If you're looking for your top elements by a table, for instance, HyperView will consider these two elements as two different hotspots. In the hotspot finder, we will be able to define a distance of separation, which means that if two elements are below this distance, they are considered as a single hotspot. So let me clear my ISO and let me measure it. So what you can start is to set as a distance between the size of the double of an element size. So let's see here, your element size is 14. You can set your element size to your separation size to 30. So let's go to hotspot. We'll set a static note, the distance to be taken into, in the search criteria. I want to look for all mises above, let's say, 400 MPAs, and I want hotspot separation. So here I will set my 2 multiplied by 15, so 30. I'm interested of reviewing the top 5 entities in my model, and for the moment I apply the selection on all my components. So let's find hotspots. So I have 5 hotspots found. So if I review them, I can review the 5 of them and I can change the review mode. So let me close the panel on the top to have a better view. And I can switch either from global or for component view or local view. So let's go on the local view and the entity zoom. So we have a first value which is here, and if I go to the next one, click on F for fitting. Okay, strange point. I think I have still one ISO, which let me go to the next one. Okay, so it seems that I have a glitch here, and next one here. What I see is that if I, for instance, ask for the elements or review my elements by getting out of the hotspots, I have a lot of rigids, and I would assume that the elements that are highlighted are directly connected to rigids, and that they have stress or a high level of stress, which is due to the stiffness transmitted by the rigid element. So let's go back to the hotspot. And this time, let's say that we want to ignore some elements and I will click on select in order to remove the rigid and the rigid link. So rigid is just a rigid with two nodes. Rigid link is more than two dependent nodes. So let's click on OK. And also I will skip the first adjacent level. Oh, sorry, what is going on? So every element directly connected to the rigid will be ignored. So let me find again hotspots and review it. Okay, so here I have only one. So just let me try. Okay, maybe 400 was a little bit high, so let me try with a lower value. I would like to show more hotspots, so let me find other hotspots. Okay, here I have 5 hotspots review. So here I have my first value, then I have my second hotspot, etc., etc. So here we have this 5 hotspots, and you see one here is connected directly to one element which was close to rigid. Now that we have set up our search criteria here, let's have a look at the preferences and what we can change in the preferences. So the first point is about precision. The numeric format is can be scientific, engineering, fixed. You can change the precision, and as a first point, you can change or add the color levels in your notes. And for instance, you can give a color by rank, or, which makes to me a little bit more sense, by value. For instance, you can say, okay, I want in red everything and above 400, then 350, then 300, then 250, and then 200. And you can change the number of levels. So if I apply and review this preference, you see that my first hotspot is in red, and then if I go to the other one, you see that I am right below 350, so I'm in yellow for all the other nodes. Let me come back on the preferences. Another option that you can look at is the formatting. And it does not concern only the font of the text, neither the size, but also it allows you to change your text here in the standard section. So you can left click in this section and you will have this default text editor which will pop up. So as a first piece of information, we're dealing with nodes here, and nodes are relying on complex code. Complex being an Altair proprietary code. So in this code, we can have some dynamic values which will be substituted live, let's say, and everything which is between curly braces will be interpreted. So here we have default information returned, and everything which is on the left side, you can insert it in the editor section, and then it will be substituted in the graphic area. So right now what I can do is just rephrase from Mises of LM, and let me pick element tidy. Equal, and let's say MPA, and let's say that this is the part information. I can click on OK, and I can now apply and review. So let me close it, sorry, and apply in review. And you see here that I have changed my layout. So here the result. There are some other preferences which I won't cover here. These were really the most recurring requests from users regarding, or you can also display the spot rank if you're depending of your number of spot rank, if you want to remind which is the first spot, second spot, etc., etc. Once you've set all your search criteria and your preferences, I really recommend you that you save your hotspot finder setting and mention that, for instance, this was is for phone-misses, and then if you have other controls for which you want to set up a hotspot, you can repeat the same operations. So here I will go back to the search criteria tab and save this one. And if you have multiple, okay, it was not saved, so phone-misses and save. So now, if you look, I have this phone-misses and I could add some extra hotspot finders. In order to leverage these hotspots and to retrieve them in other post-processing session, I would recommend you to save your post-processing session as a report template or flexible report in the latest versions. This will allow you to get access to these hotspot finders in other session. Let me try quickly to do it. So hotspot set. And now let me go to File, Session, Flexible Report. You see that I have this hotspot saved, which is already loaded. If needed, you can grab it from the Add Report template, and here I can change my results. So let's say that instead of this one, I want to go to another folder. Okay, let me retrieve one other folder, 2021 HW. I had one I like in this one, student exercise, chapter 9, and I will pick this one, which is a completely different one. Let's go for this one, da.fen, and I will just copy, paste, and take the H3. Here I will ask for appending, so create a new page in the session. So I click on apply. I can close. I can hit on F for fitting, and what you can see is if I go to the contour, I can ask. So yeah, I can bring my contour, and then I can ask for the phone-misses criteria, find hotspots, and there was no hotspots found, and this is because in that case I have no value above 200. So just let me go to 100, find hotspots, and now I have this hotspot which has been found. So I could play in this way, and I should have changed also the distance between, I think here for this case, the distance was too high. So it was a quick example about how you can leverage and retrieve your hotspot finder. So just as a last remark, the phone-misses trace control on this model was not applied by the flexible report because it is not exactly the same naming of the data type between this result, element traces 2D and 3D, and the data type from the previous, which was just stress tensor error -1%. but the hotspot has been saved, and at least you retrieve your preferences, and you can just tune some values such as the isolating distance and the threshold value in order to get access to it. Now, as a last remark, let me speak a little bit about report, because in the report we also mentioned about the hotspot, but it's a little bit different. So, and it is not, so first point is in the report, the hotspot which is available is not directly connected to the hotspot from the ribbon. So if I go to the report section, let me add a new report. And in this report, I want to add a module which is a loop over the results. And for this loop over the results, I want to add an item which is an image. So I want to take one screenshot for each of the components which will be reviewed. So what I can do here for the loop results is what are the components of interest. So I can select my components and possibly I can remove some of them. So let me click on the components. So I can do it by ID, I can do it by set contour type, so I will take by contour, and I want value above 100 MPa. I don't want to focus on the other one, so let's say OK. So I will loop over 16 components. I will pick only the active load case, and I won't exclude any entity. I want to start loop with the components, as I have only one subcase, and I want to export. So as I already pre-filtered components above 100 MPa, I may not use this, but if you want, you can also say you want to export only component with value above 200 MPa, for instance. And here is the loop over hotspots. But this over hotspots, it's an integration directly in the result browser, and it does not give you access in the current implementations to the preferences we see from the hotspot from the ribbon. So this is a question that we sometimes received. Can I have the same preferences for the hotspot from the result browsers and from the one from the ribbon? Currently, we do not, but it's in the pipe. We are working on setting the same preferences. So here I will quickly run. So I will run it on 16 components. So that should be pretty straightforward. And once it's done, I will run the report so that you see what you see on screen, what you see from the hotspot. So basically, the report identified the top one hotspot in each of the component. And you cannot, for instance, as we did in the ribbon, exclude rigid elements, exclude elements attached to the rigid elements. So yeah, this is in progress so that we can get access to it in the future. So now let me export the report. Okay. I will replace this one. Okay, let me close the one that I have open, and let me export again. And within a few seconds, I will get the Word file coming up. And here it comes. And so we have in the installation, we have brought in standard or generic report template. You can fill the report with your own template. And here we'll see the picture. So we have some tabular summary, and you see here the different parts with the different hotspots. And yeah, maybe this is something we need to work on. At least we have the node with the value. Maybe the orientation or the higher orientation is done currently so that the part is in the best position for reviewing it. I'm not sure if it takes yet the hotspot location into account, but this is something we can improve in the future. So here was for the presentation of the hotspot finder, its preferences, and the differences with the hotspot feature which is currently available in the report.